I will go ahead and introduce our next speaker. This will be a partner presentation. This is going to be Johnny with Togal. So come on out, Johnny.
Thanks so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Johnny. I want to tell Grant that he was not overdressed. You look perfect. But I just want to tell you, I think I did better on the socks game because by mistake, I wore a sock that says the coolest guy on the conference call. So hopefully that's better than his socks. But that's funny. So my name is Johnny Maghzal. As it says, I am the head of product development at Togal.AI. But before I start my presentation, I like to give a background about who I am. And before I give a background, I usually do presentations purely about Togal. I present Togal and I explain what Togal does. But Beck asked me to do something more creative. So I want to talk about innovative stuff in pre-construction and how I personally see it and how I think the industry is heading when it comes to pre-construction. So thank you for the opportunity, Beck, and thanks for this great setup. Really, really nice. What do I do? Again, I am the head of product development at Togal.AI, which is an AI software, which I'm very lucky. I talk about AI, I interact with very smart engineers, and I also bring my past. And when I talk about my past, I used to be an estimator before joining Togal for one of the biggest construction companies in Florida right now in their pre-construction team, as that might sound. But before that, I was also working on job sites as an assistant superintendent, a PE. So I know the industry very well, but I got to a point that I didn't want to work in construction anymore, so I had the chance to take my ideas from construction and put them in technologies. Okay? So I'm saying that, again, to prep for what's coming. Again, it's very odd what you're going to see. It's maybe not something you were expecting to see today. So hopefully that keeps your eyes on the screens and on me. But very important thing also to say that Stuart, the way you opened the session today, or this amazing Precon World, he basically paved the road for a lot of stuff that I'm going to be talking about. And without his great opening, what I'm going to be talking about is going to be a little bit out of context. So again, this was not planned. This was not coordinated with Stuart or anybody with the back team. So thank you so much for that, Stuart, again. I'm going to start over here with my presentation. Hopefully, now it works. OK. So what I'm going to be talking about is several stuff, and not going to bore you a little bit. But I'm going to be talking from the standpoint of an estimator or a person who works in pre-con. Not Johnny, not Togal, not somebody who works in tech. I'm going to look at tech and look at myself in the mirror as Johnny and as an estimator and say, OK, what is tech doing for pre-construction, where we are, and where we think we are heading? Okay? So the first topic is the reality of the current state of pre-construction. Again, from an estimator point of view, I think that construction software didn't, let's hope this works. Okay, so I think that construction software didn't really care a lot about pre-construction people, to be honest with you. I'm going to give you the reasons behind it. As you can see, this is a typical, typical project cycle graph, nothing fancy about this. But as we can see also, that pre-construction was always a big part of a construction project, right? A huge part of any construction project. And because of that, I had a little bit of I was not very happy with the construction technology and the money thrown in construction technology at a certain point, because I don't think they treated us fair, right? I think they treated construction operations people more, and they gave them more attention, even though we were important from the first, initially we were very important for the construction process, as Stuart also mentioned, but I don't think they gave us a lot of care. So as you can see, the previous meme. But I think also in the last 3 to 4 years, this changed, and now they care about us much more than that, okay? I think they are taking good care of us as pre-construction people. But the question is why, right? They cared about us a little bit. They cared about operations people more because maybe there was more money there, and the heart of construction maybe is on the job site, which is, again, fair. But also, as Stuart mentioned, again, thank you so much, Stuart. I'm always returning to what he said. We are very important in the planning of this project and to make them a reality, right? So they should have taken care about us a little bit more. But now, like, fortunately, they are not obliged, but they are more pressured as construction software company to take care of us much, much more. The question is why. These are the reasons that I think why this is happening. Again, this is a little bit of a cliche words, but they are getting more and more and more robust, right? Projects are becoming more complex. We all know that. You cannot build now without BIM most of the times, especially if you are building like high-rise residential stuff. Again, projects are becoming more complex, and this is something that we all agree on and we all understand. Owner schedulers are becoming more tight, and they are asking us for more and more and more, and they are asking us to do them faster and faster and faster, right? But this has been always the case, but now it's becoming so tight that, again, it's becoming like it's hurting, and that's why construction tech and money thrown in construction tech is, you can see, it's becoming overwhelming. Like if you look at on how much venture capitalists and big VCs that are generic VCs that never invested in construction in the first place, they are throwing money on construction tech for pre-construction. So again, these are very, very good indicators. And the last thing is the supply chain constraints. Again, as we know, with COVID, a lot of things happened and a lot of pressure on us to build faster and to plan faster and to get our plans faster out of the door. Okay, so these are the three main reasons why I think pre-construction software is now putting more time into, construction software is putting more time into pre-construction. So in order to kind of prove my point, again, I promise you I put these 3 points before reading this this was a study made by FMI. This is very recent, right? It's called the Global State of Pre-Construction, and I just took a snapshot from it. And these were the same top 3 reasons. Like I promise you it was coincidence. But they did the survey with 1,000 people from pre-construction all over the world, not only in the US, and the majority of the people said it's the same issue. But if you look also on the other side, the text that's written there, it was very interesting because the people who were surveyed, they believed that their companies will not be able to put more money into pre-construction pre-construction investments. So because they believe that, they also believe something should be done to become more efficient, as Grant said as well. So they believe that with technology, they will be able to do that. So again, another reason why construction software is now focusing on us as pre-construction, okay? This is all just setting up the stage for the next pieces that are going to be a little bit more creative and more imaginary. So the areas of innovations that I'm going to be talking about is where I think construction software is doing innovation in pre-construction. Some of these innovations are have already started, and I'm just going to highlight them more a little bit. And some of them will come in the future. It's inevitable, okay? The same thing happened on construction tech in operations. So it was the same cycle, but now it's just being put more and more into pre-construction, purely into pre-construction. So the first one is, again, kind of a cliche one, which is move to the cloud. What I'm going to be talking about is some trends that are coming into pre-construction, and I'm going to talk about their opportunities and their challenges, because, again, you bring tech into an industry that is not very used to tech, and again, Grant said the same thing. It's sometimes hard for us to convince our people to use this tech, and so I'm just going to highlight about the opportunities and the challenges of all of this stuff, okay? So the first one is moving to the cloud, and as you know, like, not only in construction tech, in any tech, people are moving to the cloud for many reasons, right? Ease of use, you can access your software from anywhere, anytime. You just need username and password and a little bit of internet. Thank God we live in the US. We all have very good internet. I come from Lebanon. Some places they don't have internet. So here you have a lot of internet, so it's very easy to access, right? You can access it from anywhere. Low maintenance on your IT teams, because when you move to the cloud or when you buy a software that's on the cloud, usually the provider of the software takes care of the updates, takes care of everything. It is less intervention for your IT teams. They don't need to install a new app on your people's software, on your people's computer. So again, less friction, less time. It makes it much, much more easy. The third one is the centralization of data. So the data is on the cloud, right? We're going to talk about it's on the cloud because it's on somebody else's computer. We're going to talk about governance, and we're going to talk about safety of this data. But it is in one place. You will not run into the scenario where somebody saved the file on their computer and another person saved it on another computer, and now, oh, where is the file? Also, I'm going to take this example that Grant mentioned, that the person in their company built this Excel file for 25 years. This became the guru of this Excel file. If this person leaves, now there is no guru of an Excel file, and the whole company is contingent on one person who knows how to use this Excel file, right? So moving this to the cloud, again, the centralization of the data makes these types of risk less happening, you know? So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is integrations and iPass for construction. I'm going to be highlighting on these because I think these are very, very interesting for the industry. And the last thing is the incentive to drive innovation. Why I'm saying this? Because when the software is on the cloud, unfortunately for the software provider, there is less friction and there is less switching cost for the user. So the software provider is incentivized to keep making the software better and better, because if they don't, the user will go to another software provider because it's on the cloud. Because again, everything is much easier. It is easier to access it. Most of the time on the cloud, all the knowledge base is also provided on the cloud. So again, it is incentivizing those construction software to build more innovation. Again, as you can see with BAG, with BidDay, it's on the cloud. They are pushing, getting more user feedback. This is all, again, it's not happening by chance. It's happening because of the move to the cloud. Again, it's changing a lot of things. What is driving the move to the cloud is also now the computation power exists now. You can buy an Amazon Web Services server and you can run your application on the cloud. You don't need to have an infrastructure engineer anymore. So a lot of things are helping with this. Okay, what I wanted to emphasize on is integrations and iPass. Most of us know what integrations mean, right? If you use your Gmail, it integrates with your Zoom, and it makes it so easy to create a Zoom calendar and all these integrations, right? And for example, us with Toggle and Back, we are integrating with Back. So the Destiny, and I think Mike will show it today, how the Destiny 2D takeoff tool will talk with Toggle seamlessly, so the user doesn't need to learn two tools, doesn't need to go from one software to another. Again, integrations are also more easily happening when we are on the cloud. So again, another reason why this cloud movement is more and more easier to go with. But what I wanted to talk about mainly on this section is iPass. I don't know if a lot of you have heard about iPass. iPass stands for Integration Platform as a Service, okay? So what does that mean? I don't know if you've seen before Zapier or Make. These are very, very famous generic iPass software, which allow you to create automations between two software you use. For example, I need to get an example on this. Like you can have two software that you have, and using Zapier, you can tell Zapier to take some actions from this software and automatically adjust them on the other software. Again, I would really, really recommend the people here to research iPass. But this is very interesting. Why? Because these are, again, generic iPass software. They are not directly or not specifically made for construction. However, again, this is what I'm talking about. Now we have Revit, which is an iPass only for construction. So what does this do? They have people who know construction very well, and it allows cloud-based tool to talk to each other very easily without for example, I have a construction company and I have two tools and I want them to talk to each other. Without iPass, I have to talk to both software provider and tell them, hey, please find a way to talk to each other, like us and Beck did, right? But without the user, maybe Beck heard from the user and they ask us, hey, let's integrate with each other. These platforms provide the user the control that the user doesn't need to talk to these two providers anymore. The user can sign up to this platform, and now these two software, with no code automation, the user can make these two software talk to each other. Really, really interesting concept. I really recommend people researching it. And again, thanks Beck for giving me this opportunity about talking about some interesting stuff outside what I do day to day. So what are the challenges of being on the cloud? As you all know, a cloud is nothing other than a computer that's sitting on somebody else's premise, right? So data governance, data security, who is seeing your data, who can access your data, who can do what with your data? These were all questions asked 10 or 15 years ago when people started moving to the cloud. But also you can see, like Ignite now is focusing on construction. So they know what we are doing. They know that we have a lot of money, a lot of drawings that are very sensitive from our clients, and we want to make sure that these drawings or these documents are safe on the cloud. So software like Ignite provide these type of data governance and data security. The other challenges of being on the cloud is the application performance. Being on the cloud apps, they used to be slow and used to be not very quick, because again, you're sending a request to a server who is on another place in the continent. That server sending a request back. So the speed of interaction between the software was a little bit an issue. Now we don't have these issues anymore because, again, computation power is getting better and better. Okay, the next one is quantity takeoffs using AI. This is another innovation that is coming, and it came. Again, I tried my best not to talk about Togal because Beck didn't want me to talk too much about Togal. But this is something that is really a problem, and I'm gonna, again, quote Grant on this. We do a lot of quantity takeoffs, and it is an annoying part of our work, but we have to do it, right? It's very important because we need to know what we are building, how much we are building, and why we are building it. So when I was an estimator, I used to spend a lot of time on-screen and Bluebeam, clicking, and dragging. And most of the time, I didn't know, I was not thinking, you know, there is a lot of art in estimation, and we'll all agree on that, and I'm gonna talk about this piece later on. But there is also 5-6 hours a day clicking and dragging, and your eyes burn, and people come out of school, really. People come out of school studying for 4 years construction management. They really don't want to click and drag the whole day. They want to use their brain. They want to communicate with trade partners. They want to understand from their senior how things are built, not really coloring and tracing. So this was the idea that we came up with Togal when I used to work at this construction company. Again, I'm not going to talk a lot about Togal, but I'm going to take you quickly through it. So the opportunity here is that we can do takeoffs quickly, focus on higher value tasks, as I said, and less annoying type of work. Again, quoting Grant again. I don't know where Grant is sitting. Grant, I said your name many times, so hopefully you give me a hug after this. But anyway, as he said, like people spend a lot of time doing takeoffs and doing some not very high value task. Quickly, what Togal does is you take a floor plan, and in like a couple of seconds, Togal will draw all these spaces for you. Again, we will explain this later. We have one-on-ones later on. If you like to see demos about Togal, we would love to show you this. But all these spaces and all these walls that you see here were drawn in like 10 or 15 seconds. We understand that this will not be the final product because the user still needs to put their art piece into this thing that the AI is giving. But if something takes 45 minutes and AI gives it in 10 seconds and the user spends 5 to 10 minutes on top of it, that's 30 minutes, 35 minutes per drawing saved time, right? So we will gonna talk about this later on, but this is what Togal does. Again, I don't wanna spend too much time on it because that was the goal. The challenges about using something like this, quantity takeoff in AI, is the trust of AI, right? Why do we need to trust something that is fairly new? It's a machine. I spent 15 years doing takeoffs. doing takeoffs the way I do takeoffs. Why is a machine going to teach me how to do takeoffs? All these things are blockers or obstacles, and they are very understandable obstacles. Like when I talk to my tech team, I tell them, relax, like these people know what they are doing. They have been building for 20, 30 years, and these are very intimate talks we're talking about. Building a takeoff is very intimate to the estimator. You all know this. If you know that somebody changed a little bit in your takeoff, most probably you won't go to sleep in bed, because these are very, very intimate topics, nerdy but intimate. And fear of mistakes, right? You don't want the AI to do mistakes. And I don't know if you watched the webinar I did with Mike Boren like a month ago. It was about AI expectation versus reality. It's something I'd love to talk about. So if you would like to talk about it later on with me, would love to chat with you about it. So this is about quantity takeoffs. The next innovations that I think are coming to Precon is collaboration in Precon. And if you remember the meme I had before, I just want to bring it back. This is where I really think construction software didn't care about pre-construction people before. They are right now. And why? Because if you think about it, you close your eyes, you will know that there was, before like 2 years ago, there was really no software that provide a way for pre-construction people to collaborate. We were all working in silos, like we work on our software on our computer and we email the file to somebody else. So this provides a lot of errors, a lot of ways to lose the information, a lot of places where somebody misexplains something. So this is where I think this is gonna be a big needle mover for the construction industry when collaboration tools come into pre-construction. And I'm talking about like very robust collaboration tools. So what are the opportunities? Again, better communication, internal and external. Why do you need to send a file to your colleague in the office? If they work with you, if you are on the same platform, why don't you just invite them to your takeoff? They will see your drawings, and you will be able to communicate easily. Why do you, again, I will talk about the issue of trust. For example, GCs and subcontractors and owners, again, we sometimes try to hide it, but it's a reality. We don't trust each other a lot with giving information, right? So if you are sending, you work at a GC and you want to talk with your trade partner or subcontractor about some takeoff, you will never send them the takeoff, right? You're just gonna call them on the phone and try to investigate. Hey, what did you do? Because you don't want to give them the number, so they don't rely on your number, and you don't want to give them the number so you know their number, right? So because of that, we can also, with the right collaboration software, we will be able to enhance external collaboration, and I will talk about it as well. Closing the gap between the project knowledge between, again, the GC and the trade partner. This is why GCs are for, right? We close the gap between the knowledge of the owner or the architect and the trade partner who is on the forefront. Quicker decision-making and quicker bids out of the doors. But a lot of challenges come with this, right? What are the challenges? So trust issues, as I said, we don't trust each other. Again, we trust each other, but not very much. No software with the right guardrails, and I want to take a minute on this to explain it. What do I mean by no software with the right guardrails? Because, for example, if you are doing a takeoff and you are sharing it with your friend or your colleague at work, even though they are your colleague at work and they might not have any malicious reason to change your takeoff, but if you know that they are able to change your takeoff, you will not go to sleep easily, right? So the collaboration software have to create guardrails for people to be confident that, for example, I shared this document with you, but I want you to only be as read-only. This software has to provide it. So if all of you, I'm sure, used Google Docs or Google Sheets, you know that you can invite somebody as a view only, as a comment only, or as an editor. These software have to be able to provide these level of permissions. Again, if you want to invite somebody outside your organization to view only, you should be able to do that. So again, being on the cloud as well allows us to do that. So I have to go a little bit quickly. Generating 3D models from 3D plans. This is a topic that is very close to my heart because as much as I love BIM, and I think BIM is very important for our industry, we cannot build a lot of our buildings right now without BIM. When it comes to the takeoff, I really have a little bit of hesitation when I talk about BIM and takeoff. Why? Because most of the time, the people or the entity that builds the BIM model is not the entity that is performing the model, right? And if the architect built this BIM model, most probably the architect built it because they care about the aesthetics and the functionality of this BIM model. However, if I am doing a takeoff and I want to divide my slab into 3 pieces and it was 1 piece in that BIM model, then I have to do the work again. But why I'm saying this? Because there is so much, people like to always to say, oh, I want to move from 2D to 3D. But there is a lot of opportunities, right? If there is a software out there that takes the floor plans in 2D format and transform them to 3D model, there's a lot of opportunity there, right? Like, for example, ability to better visualize your project, time and money saving, great selling point, obviously, and direct integration with BIM software. These are the opportunities, but there's a lot of challenges. What are these challenges? Drawings are never complete. Again, going back to the art of estimation, I used to be an estimator, and I never appreciated my brain as much as I left estimating, because we have so much knowledge in this brain that we take a piece of paper that has lines on it and we price that. Again, it's a crazy ability that only estimators have, right? So, and software are not as good in these, not as good as people in these things. Again, software and AI, which I love AI, are very good at things that are not very artistic. But in our craft, we have so much art in estimating. So why I'm saying that there's challenges to move from 2D to 3D is the level of details required, as also Stuart mentioned. He's the gentleman who won the award today. They are working so hard to say what is the level of detail required on these BIM models to be okay, or how much level of detail they need to bring value. And most of the time, the level of detail on the drawings is not enough to transform those to 3D models. So this brings challenges for us, okay? Information on drawings are scattered everywhere. As much as we like to say that there's a lot of standards in construction, there's not much. My personal opinion about trends and about AI and about how AI will influence the industry, I like these 2 terms very much, so let's there you go. Augmentation versus automation, okay? We are all for automation. Like, again, going back to Grant, the assemblies is a way of automation, right? You are automating a task that instead of having to like write them many times, you just use the assemblies to automate this task. But when it comes to AI, it's a different thing, right? Because with automation, there are certain set of rules that are always the same. They don't change for the automation to work, right? But AI is all probabilistic, and the output is probabilistic. Like, an AI will never tell you that this is a car, or this is a speaker, or this is a person here. It will tell you that with 90% probability, this is a person, and then you can choose your threshold. This is how most AI works, right? So why I'm saying this is we have, as Precon or our construction people, if we want to work with AI, at least for the next 5 to 10 years, in my opinion, to take this mentality of augmentation rather than automation. Why? Because as I said, with Toggle, we automate the takeoff, but there is still a lot of information to add on that. So even Toggle might take 10 minutes to give you 10 seconds to give you an output. You should spend another 4 or 5 minutes adjusting, editing, and putting your knowledge to this output. You should never rely on this output. Again, the more this AI will get better, the more you will rely on it. But augmentation versus automation is a very, very important idea. And also, why I'm saying this? Because if you remember this, in 2021, Zillow came out with this AI tool that prices houses for them, and they lost more than $600 million on it because they relied on this AI algorithm to price those projects for them. And it was always pricing them less than they should be. And the funny thing is that the process only relied on the inspector. So this Zillow app will tell you that this house costs $2 million to buy, like they give you an offer. The only contingent thing was that the inspector goes, looks, and say, oh yeah, the house is there, and yeah, that's it, and they just pay you $2 million. So the process was relying on AI to do the whole thing, instead of relying on AI to give you a starting point somewhere where I can start, I have some knowledge there, and then I take this information and augment it with the human knowledge, with the variables that the human can see and the machine cannot see. So this is a great example of how people messed up using AI and relying on it solely as an automation tool. My personal opinion about trends, again, that construction software should rely a lot on user experience. Because, again, so much friction for us to move from using pencil and paper, using Excel, to move to use a software that's on the cloud. So the construction software have to make sure that these software that they create for us have to be user-friendly, very easy to learn, and very easy to adapt to. And this is very, very important point. And continue here, if my clicker helps. Okay, final thoughts. Let's see if I can keep going. I don't know if I am changing or you are changing it for me. I feel like a crazy guy over here. I'm going to just go back to this. I'm going back to this graph here real quick to just say that, in my opinion, pre-construction is not pre-construction anymore. And it's becoming more sophisticated. As you see, the red arrow there on top used to dictate where pre-construction ends and where construction starts. And as you all might hopefully agree with me, this is becoming less and less the case. Pre-construction is spanning now more into the construction phase because construction is becoming more sophisticated. You cannot just hand out things to the operations people and leave. We are becoming more intertwined, slowly, with the whole operation piece. And that's why I think there is no more line in the sand. It's becoming a little bit more vague and more intertwined. Again, this is the reason why construction software are catering for Precon. I am exactly on time. I just wanted to, I will take another 2 more minutes. This is something very, very interesting, okay? It's not really related to construction, but I think it will like light up a lot of things for all of us over here. It's a futuristic stuff to keep an eye on. And these are 2 companies, OpenAI, I don't know if you heard about them. OpenAI, I think Elon Musk is the CEO of it, and Make a Video. Yes, thank you. Can we go to Make a Video, please, the other one? So what is Make a Video? Make a Video is a software now created where you write a sentence. You write a sentence, and this AI will create a video based on the sentence. So can you scroll down a little bit, Holly, please? So you see here, you write a prompt. A little bit more, can you scroll a little bit more? So you see here, you can write a prompt, and you can say, I want to see a teddy bear drawing in a room, drawing a portrait, and this AI will create this video for you. Again, I will show you the links again if you want to check them yourself. You can write the prompt on the website for you. The other one, can we go to the other one, Holly, please? This is called DALL-E. It's by OpenAI. Again, it's the biggest AI software in the world. This does the same thing, but you write, instead of a video, it creates an image for you. So why I'm bringing this not very related stuff to a pre-construction event is just to show you where AI has come, okay? Will it come and touch us this much? This is basically removing most of art jobs right now. Like, you can go and write, like I think on Cosmos magazine, they put the first AI-generated picture. This lady wrote, I want an astronaut with like a blah, blah, blah way, and they put that picture on Cosmos magazine. So again, just sparking the idea where AI is now, and is it going to touch us this much in construction? Construction is much more sophisticated than drawing stuff on a piece of paper. Again, not undermining artists, but again, a very, very good thought for us to think about. So thank you so much for hearing my annoying voice, and hopefully this was interesting. And thank you. Again, we will be, thank you so much. We will be doing demos in the breakout rooms, so if any of you like to see any demo, you can reach out to me, Nick, or Dexter in the back there, and we will be more than happy to show you demos. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Thank you.